Hello, my name is Carol May Whittick. Welcome to Higher Energetic Resonance Inspirations. This is now a year into Higher Energetic Resonance Inspirations, and I want to celebrate by doing something that I feel is worthwhile. As we're now in the last month of 2023, it's the perfect opportunity for us to reflect and assess the past year and then to plan and be prepared for 2024. Now, the majority of people who make resolutions do so without truly considering what it will take to achieve them. So they mention things that they'd like to happen or changes that they wish to make, and they're not laying any foundation, which is why they cannot follow through. And then they begin the year with then another failure that then reinforces their belief that they cannot change anything, which then further reinforces their belief that change is impossible for them. However, if you take the time to truly identify what you want and what it will take to get you there, then success is almost inevitable. So I've created this 5-week series, Flow into 2024. Each episode this month will have a new focus that builds on the week before. So by week 5 on the 29th of December and days before the new year, you'll be primed and ready to flow into 2024, fully clear about what you want, why you want it, and what it will take to get you there. So the weeks coming up, this week is Essence, so we'll do a review of 2023. Following on will be Desire, when we're looking at what you want for 2024. Week 3 is Evolve, so what needs to change. Week 4 is Foundation, so really exploring the tools and the resources that need to be in place and maybe even researching and investing in them. Week 5, the 29th, is Create, where you start, you enjoy the journey, the process, and flow into 2024. This Flow into 2024 series is a series that I hope will offer you tools and remind you of your own sovereignty. There'll be more included, of course, in the Higher Energetic Resonance Inspirations email. So again, I invite you to join the mailing list. Being on the mailing list, you'll get the email, and in particular this month as well, they'll be jam-packed with content to help you flow into 2024. From Søren Kierkegaard: life can only be understood backwards, but it must be lived forwards. Essence is to explore the essence of 2023. And what I mean by that is, what did 2023 mean to you? I'm sure it presented varied and a multitude of experiences, of challenges and opportunities for your growth. So what would you say was the essence of your year? And it may be that you want to choose a word that encapsulates this, and often it can be useful to choose a word that will be the theme of the year. And then as you have this word for the year, you've got something that you're aligning with as you move forwards. If you chose a word for last year, how did it pan out for you? Would the way that you describe your year match up with what it is that you had set as an intention for 2023? And if I think about it, I can't remember actually calling in a name for this year for myself. But in hindsight and glancing backwards and seeing what it was, I can see that there was a lot of release. There was a lot of change and release in terms of stepping away from things that were not aligned to me, that I was holding on to out of legacy almost. And seems to be like a recurring theme in my life, where I'm just holding on to things because I've always held on to them. There were working situations that I was in that just didn't align with who I wanted to be and how I was working anymore. As well, it was a big test of faith for me to decide that I had to shift and change because my skills were not necessarily being compensated in those situations. I would say release is a recurring theme, and the space that came from that and the opportunity to direct the energy that I was pouring into other people's projects and endeavours into myself has shown me how much I was expelling in directions that weren't being honoured. But then by putting in even a fraction of where I was giving my power and my creativity away and directing it fully into higher energetic resonance and growing the brand and the message around this, how much has been created already. So for me, it was definitely about release. So for yourself, what would you say are the experiences that stand out for you? And as you're looking over the year as well, reflect on the moments of joy, the moments of triumph, and even the moments of adversity. I know we never want to spend too much time thinking about the things that we might feel that were very painful or went wrong for us, but there are always lessons to be learned, and often we'll find that the biggest lessons and the deepest truths that we encounter do come from those adverse situations. And how have you learned to handle the things that are not permanent in your life? It's that old adage that the only constant thing in life is change. Are you getting better at releasing those things that don't belong in your life anymore? And are you able to mourn them and hold them dear in your life for what they brought to you and what they taught you, even though ultimately you may have stayed too long? Again, speaking from experience in a situation, have you fully managed to let go and forgive, and then appreciate and honor the space that now that situation is not there, that has opened up for you, and what are you going to do with that opportunity? From Roy T. Bennett, The Light in the Heart: accept yourself, love yourself, and keep moving forward. If you want to fly, you have to give up what weighs you down. And thinking about how you've changed, how have these experiences shaped your understanding of yourself and of the world around you? What have you learned? What has this year shown you about your own personal resilience? Has it shown you that you have untapped abilities? Has it shown you that you have a depth for more compassion and more loving? How has life surprised you? And if you were to say certain things that you were proud of or what you've achieved this year, what would you say? What would be the thing that would be like gold medal for you? You really did it. And reflect on the growth that has sprouted from all of the seeds of all of the challenges and the learnings, because you for sure are not the same person that you were at the beginning of this year, especially if you're somebody who's listening to this podcast, which is a podcast about healing, about growth, about exploration. If you're the kind of person that's interested in these things, you'll be to some extent applying them in your life, and by that token will be changing your life in numerous ways. And sometimes you may not even realize, but sometimes by embodying deeply something, maybe not on a conscious level, it does create a shift. And you'll notice that when you go back into different areas, that your reaction and your response to those are so changed. And that's aligned with this quote from Nelson Mandela: "There is nothing like returning to a place that remains unchanged to find the ways in which you yourself have altered." And looking at disappointments and honouring disappointments as well. Where in 2023 were you disappointed? What disappointed you? Who disappointed you? Did you let yourself down? Did you feel that there were areas that you'd failed? And how are you handling that failure, that perceived failure? And is it really as final as you think it is? Is there really no hope? Why are you calling that situation a failure? Failures are rarely the end of a situation. They just might be a completion, but it's by no means the end of you. And is it a failure because it didn't work out, or is it a failure because you didn't try? Answer as honestly as possible. Be as honest as possible if this is work that you're doing with yourself, or if there's someone that you trust that you can have these conversations with. There is no benefit in not being honest about these questions, because in allowing yourself to be honest and open about the hard things, it will shift you exponentially. It will shift you at a rate that honesty, that radical honesty with yourself and with others, just creates more openness and more opportunity, and also puts you in spaces with people and places and situations that will shift your life, as opposed to when everyone's kind of holding back and not really saying the truth. Another quote from Roy T. Bennett: "Do not fear failure, but rather fear not trying." And when it comes to relationships, the essence of the year can be coloured by the connections that we've formed with ourselves, with others, even with nature. Talking of essence with nature, I've managed to cultivate a really good collection of houseplants, and anyone who's a houseplant enthusiast will understand the excitement that I have around these things. And I've had clippings, and I've repotted, and I've shared clippings. Little shoots of them now exist in friends' houses all over the country. That focus of nurturing something, sometimes just a plant, for me brings me into a reverence and an expectation and an excitement around nature, seeing these plants grow, trying to communicate and find out what it is that they need. And it's so calming to have them around me, especially as I'm working from home and I'm usually sitting in the same spot all the time. But at least what changes around me are these natural beings, is the evolution of all these different things that that are growing and are supporting me in their own way. And what relationships have enriched your life in 2023? Who are the people that you've met that have supported you, that have opened up to you, that you have supported as well? Because often it's in the people that we're able to serve that they give back to us, probably in greater ways than we could even envisage by just being the recipient of other people's attention and care. How have these connections nurtured your spirit? What is it that you've learnt from them, from other people? What have you learnt about human nature? What have you learnt about yourself? Have you noticed that you've been able to recognise more unity and more understanding and more of a shared purpose that there is in humanity? So important these days, because it just looks like it's war upon war and people are so divided and so polarised about things, when ultimately at the core what we're wanting are the same things. We just want love and peace and growth in our life. And where have you had to complete relationships and let people go? And have you again been able to forgive and release and find space and peace around those as well? Letting go of people, and even when they're creating disharmony and trauma in our lives, can as well still leave a gap. You know, they're people at the end of the day, and we have a connection to them. And even when it's better for us to be apart from them, there is still a part of us that needs to mourn that. So have you been able to do that? And then reminding yourself that in letting those relationships go, you're making space for richer, deeper, more true connections. From Ananin, each friend represents a world in us, a world possibly not born until they arrive, and it is only by this meeting that a new world is born. And when it comes to your growth spiritually, how have all of these lessons contributed to your spiritual awakening, to your spiritual journey? How have you been when it comes to practicing your spiritual practices, your meditation, your mindfulness, your journaling, and being present in the moment with yourself during 2023? Have there been moments of grace, as I was speaking about last year? Have you had those extra deep meditations when you've happened upon some deep inspiration, some awareness? How has incorporating spirituality into your life impacted the way that you perceive the way that you are in the world, what you consider to be reality, what you consider to be your purpose, and how you are going to be in this world, and what it is that you're going to create as you're moving forward and flowing into 2024. So I hope these reflections on the essence of your 2023 will start to lead to a deeper understanding of yourself, that you're able to reflect on the year with gratitude, and it starts to then ignite in you a sense of purpose as you see how you've evolved by doing what you did, and just knowing that if you just put the foot on the gas just a little bit more, that anything is possible for you, anything is available for you. From Swami Vivekananda, you have to grow from inside out. No one can teach you, no one can make you spiritual. There is no other teacher but your own soul. Thank you for joining me on week 1 of Flow into 2024 Essence. Next week is Desire. And if you want to receive the sheets and the emails that I'm creating for you to use on this journey of Flow into 2024, I invite you to join the mailing list. The link is in the show notes below. It's the 1st of December, I'm recording this as well. Last night I had the 3 steps to vocal confidence workshop, which was totally amazing. I truly loved sharing that with everyone. If you couldn't make it, there is a replay, and I'll drop the link to the show notes as well. Also, as you're considering your flow into 2024, if you want to delve deeper into your own journey, your own spirituality, your own creativity, and you want to have a conversation with me about the personalized one-to-one spiritual life coaching program, the link is in the show notes as well. More information on my website, carolmaywhittick.com, carolmaywhittick.com. Find me on Facebook and LinkedIn under Carol May Whittick, and on Instagram, Casmic, Cazmick. Until next week, where we look at desire, have a great one. Enjoy exploring your essence. Bye.